What if the final season of Stranger Things doesn't just break our hearts, it crushes them completely? Season 5 is the end of everything we know about Hawkins, the Upside Down, and the characters we've grown to love. And if the past 4 seasons have taught us anything, it's this: no one is truly safe. The stakes have never been higher. The battle lines have been drawn. Vecna is wounded but not defeated. And with the world tearing apart at the seams, someone, maybe more than one, won't make it out alive. These are the 5 characters most likely to die in Season 5. And we're not guessing, we're digging deep into their arcs, the narrative clues, and what their deaths would mean for the story and the characters left behind. Some of these will hurt, but that's what makes them powerful. Let's begin with the death that might shatter the fandom the most. No death would hit harder than Steve's. Steve started as a selfish, arrogant high school heartthrob, but over the seasons, he's evolved into one of the most selfless and dependable characters in the entire show. He protects the kids, throws himself into danger without hesitation, and keeps showing up again and again even when no one expects him to. By the time we reached Season 4, Steve had become the emotional backbone of the group. He shared honest moments with Nancy, admitted his dream of having a family, and even faced death in the Upside Down without flinching. These moments weren't just emotional, they were ominous. What makes Steve a prime target for death isn't just his development, it's that his arc feels complete. He's already found redemption. He's already proven himself. And in a show that's about sacrifice, love, and protecting others, Steve giving his life to save the group would feel both heartbreaking and true to his journey. And the impact? Catastrophic. Dustin would be devastated. Their brotherly bond has been one of the purest relationships in the series. Nancy would grieve the loss of someone she truly cared for. Even Robin, who became his closest friend, would carry that pain forward. Steve's death could unify the group, but emotionally break them too. There's also a deeper reason his death would matter. It would signal the end of innocence. The cool guy who grew into a hero would fall, showing that even the strongest hearts aren't invincible. Steve's legacy would live on through those he loved. Next up is the character whose entire story has been tied to darkness since the very beginning: Will Byers. Will has always been tied to the darkness. From the very first episode, he's been the heart of the show's mystery and its pain. Unlike the other characters, Will never got a break. He's been possessed, used, hunted, and forgotten. But more than that, he's been emotionally isolated. He's had to hide who he is, pretend he's okay, and quietly endure being pushed to the sidelines. Yet, through all this, he's remained loyal, sensitive, and brave. In Season 4, his speech to Mike revealed his inner world. He described how 11 felt different, scared, alone, but we all knew he was talking about himself. It was one of the most powerful scenes in the show, and it felt like the writers were finally letting us into Will's soul. That scene alone cemented him as one of the most emotionally layered characters in the series. But here's where things get darker. Will is still connected to Vecna. He can sense him. He feels his presence. That psychic bond hasn't gone away, and that might make him the key to destroying Vecna. Or the final victim. A heroic death for Will would close the loop. The boy who was taken by the Upside Down would be the one who ends it. He could be the one who lures Vecna in, sacrifices himself to shut the portal, or channels his connection into a weapon. His death would emotionally wreck the group. Mike would be shattered, especially if he realizes too late how much Will loved him. Jonathan would lose the brother he's always protected. 11 would feel the loss of someone who understood her pain more than anyone else. Will's death would be the most poetic. The quiet boy who never got to be a normal kid finally finding peace. Next up is Max Mayfield, the one character who's already died once and might not survive a second time. And yes, Max Mayfield's fate still hangs in the balance. We covered her in our previous list, but her story isn't over yet, and it may still end in tragedy. At the end of Season 4, Max died. Her heart stopped, her body was shattered, and her mind disappeared into darkness. 11 brought her back, but what returned was only a shell. Max is blind, in a coma, and completely unresponsive. No voice, no presence, just silence. That makes her the most vulnerable of them all. Her survival felt less like a win, and more like a delay in the inevitable. If Vecna still has power, he might not let her slip away a second time. there's a real possibility that Max could wake up only to give everything in the final battle. That would complete her arc in the most tragic and heroic way possible. The girl who barely survived once, choosing to sacrifice herself to save the people she loves. So while we've already broken down Max's near-death experience in detail before, her place in Season 5 remains critical. Whether it's a final stand or a heartbreaking farewell, Max's journey could still end in the most unforgettable way. Either way, Max's time feels limited. Whether it's a heartbreaking farewell or a final stand, Season 5 could mark the end of her journey, and this time, it might be for real. Let's talk about a character who's been here since the very beginning but has quietly slipped further into the background: Jonathan Byers. Jonathan has always been the protective older brother. In Season 1, he never gave up on finding Will. In later seasons, he risked everything to help his family and stand up to forces far beyond his control. But while others became central to the main fight, Jonathan began to fade into the shadows. And that's exactly what makes his potential death even more likely. His arc feels like it's slowing down. In Season 4, Jonathan struggled with purpose. His relationship with Nancy was tense, his confidence shaken, and his role increasingly passive. That shift isn't random, it feels like foreshadowing. When characters lose narrative momentum in a final season, it often means they're being set up for one final, meaningful act. Jonathan's most likely path to death? A sacrifice for the people he loves. He could die protecting Will, completing the journey he started in Season 1. From the moment Will vanished, Jonathan's life has revolved around keeping his brother safe. Dying to protect him would close that loop. Or perhaps he gives his life for Nancy, finally showing the depth of his love and putting her safety above his own. Either way, his death would matter. It would devastate Will, robbing him of his biggest protector. And if Jonathan dies saving the group, it could reignite the heart in Nancy that once saw him as the quiet, brave soul no one else noticed. But more than anything, Jonathan's death would carry weight because of its simplicity. He's not a superhero, he's not a soldier. He's just a loyal, kind-hearted brother who's always done the right thing, even when it cost him. And in a show like Stranger Things, that kind of selfless love is exactly the kind that never survives the final battle. And finally, we have someone no one expected to love as much as we do. No one expected Murray to become a fan favorite, but that's exactly what happened. Introduced as a quirky, conspiracy-loving recluse, Murray has grown into one of the show's most unlikely heroes. He's smart, fearless, and deeply loyal. In Season 4, he flew into a Russian prison, fought monsters, and stood toe-to-toe with armed guards, all without losing his sarcasm or style. But this sudden rise in screen time and importance, it might be setting him up for a fall. Murray's death would be shocking, but also deeply emotional. He's the comic relief, yes, but he's also the glue between some of the adult characters. If Murray dies, it will likely be in a blaze of glory. Maybe he holds off Demogorgon so the others can escape. Maybe he sacrifices himself to destroy a lab or protect the kids. However it happens, you can bet it'll be epic and probably include one final sarcastic line. And the impact? Joyce and Hopper would be wrecked. After everything they've survived, losing Murray would remind them how fragile victory is. For the audience, it would be the moment we realize even the funny guy isn't safe anymore. More importantly, Murray's death would symbolize the cost of this war. That everyone, even those who joined the fight late, has something to lose. Season 5 will be brutal. And not everyone will survive. Steve, Will, Max, and Murray are all in real danger, and their deaths would leave lasting emotional scars on the characters and the audience. The end is coming, and with it, real sacrifice. The only question is, who will make it out alive?